never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up.
The past is gone. Now's the future.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Weekly Review. My name is Mike Larkin, and as always, I am joined by my boys. He is the dead man of RWT, Mr. Paul Morales, and DC himself, Daniel Crimmins. Gentlemen, it is a wrestling weekend full of wrestling shows and whatnot, and of course, wrestling news. And I think, unfortunately, the best way to start this off is well wishes to two amazing people. One, we'll start with Jim Ross has announced that he has been diagnosed with colon cancer. Jim, speedy recovery. That man has been through a lot within his career. The passing of his wife, health-wise and everything. Jim, we love you. Speedy recovery. We love you,
very
Jim.
much so. Fucking
stomp a mud hole in cancer's ass and walk it dry.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
And
Treat
then,
it like a government mule and whoop the shit out of it, Jim. Molly whop it. There you go. There you go. Don't worry, Jim. You got a lot of damn people behind you, and the prayers, I'm sure, are plenty for you. And
well, that's the thing too. I mean, he's gone through a lot.
Us three added to it, sir. And
Hell yeah!
All the best, and we pray everything works out, brother.
Greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time. And I mean, I look at it like this. Now, mind you, he's been in a limited role with just doing like one high-profile match calls for AEW. But I mean, you hate to see it like this. And I mean, Jim has a history of cancer and whatnot, but this time, Bell's palsy, yes, and everything. But I mean, I look at it like this. He's still one of the greats, and he's the GOATs. And I mean, love and prayers to JR and everything. But I will say this as well, speaking of love and prayers, besides the unfortunate news of Jim Ross this week, we did have unfortunate news and a horrible accident as this week during the Money in the Bank qualifier match with Zoe Stark, Rhea Ripley, and Becky Lynch. God.
Kairi Sane.
What I say, Kairi Sane, I'm sorry. Thank you. Zoe Stark, Rhea Ripley, and Kairi Sane, which congratulations to see Kairi back. I mean, I look at it like this, y'all. She goes for the missile dropkick, that being Zoe Stark, and the photo will be inserted here. That poor girl, the way that she landed was just so horrible.
And not only that, that was the same exact knee that she injured in NXT.
Yes, which
same
is more hard.
Knee. And she's already had it surgically repaired once, so her recovery time with it, since it's the same knee. And this might be the same spot, she's going to be out for a while.
But that's the thing, too. I mean, I look at it like this. Freak accidents do occur. And I mean, this was
what this is.
Yes, and this is what we saw. So this is from the Professor Nick Harrison on Twitter. My wife is an athletic trainer, showed her the Zoe Stark footage. She immediately said that's an MCL, ACL, possibly tibial plateau fracture, hoping for a speedy recovery. So, I mean, that's exactly what that looked like that was.
And what is probably more than likely going to end up happening is she's going to end up with a lot of screws in her leg.
Oh yeah.
She's going to, depending upon if there were any fractures or any complete breaks of anywhere in her tibia or the upper part of her shin. I mean, we don't really know the extent of it. But what we do know is that she already went through surgery. So whatever the diagnosis was, nobody's really said anything as to what it was. So there are no reports. I mean, SRS, Beavis and Butthead, neither one of them has said anything. So, just the only thing we can do is same thing with Jim. We could send our prayers. I mean, we sent our love, all over social media. That's literally all she's gotten. Literally 5 minutes after the incident happened, and my God, the screams that she wailed out, man.
Yeah.
that was the worst, dude. And I literally teared up because it got me, man. I've bummed out my knee on a couple of occasions, hyperextended it, literally had a partial tear in my right knee. So I know what that feeling is like, but that, if it's a complete tear, is a whole different it's a whole different subject. So
I mean, I look at it like this. I mean, she was about to break out on her own. I think a lot of people forget like how good she is. I mean, there's no more Sonya, there's no more Shayna, and this was really her big opportunity here. And I think you could tell they had to call an audible, and she was the one who was going to take the pin in the match, not Kyrie. But I think with what they did, it absolutely worked perfectly with Rhea winning. And I mean, I still thoughts and prayers, but I mean, you could even tell when they were trying to carry her, it's like the trainer's like, no, I'm going to carry it to the back. They couldn't even hold her because it got her leg gave out. Just it broke my heart just because I knew what the great stuff we were going to see from Zoe Stark, but I cannot wait till she comes back now. So
I've always said, and Mike, you and I have talked about this for years, Zoe is criminally underrated.
Very much so.
You know, and she was finally getting a chance to show who she is. And, you know, it just goes to show that, yeah, these men and women are trained professionals. Yeah, they're trained to do this. But you can't be trained for this. You can't be trained to take a bump like that. You know, and it just goes, and it increases my respect for them, because knowing how dangerous this sport could be, and to me, I don't care, it's still a sport. You know, it's just as much a sport as any other. You know, they go through hell and take so many risks where so many things can go wrong. And God, I hope she's able to come back at 100% and show people who she is.
I'm right there with you, man. And I mean, speaking of showing who she is, we move over to Busted Open Radio, man. And like Paul mentioned, the wide array of respect and wide array of well wishes coming to the aid of Zoe Stark here. And this is what Natalya had to say on Busted Open, along with Mr. Dave LaGreca.
The toughest part for me, honestly, Natty, was that you could hear her screams of pain when that happened. It would just, my heart sunk.
It sucks. It sucks that it happened. I felt terrible because I was backstage when it happened. We had just had our match and we were all, you know, everybody was excited and there was a lot of commotion. And like, I know Zoe, anytime Zoe gets to perform, especially on Raw, she takes it very seriously. She's a student of the game. She loves this. And she takes it very seriously. Like, she pours her heart into it. So I think the second she found out that she was going to have this match, the wheels were already spinning in her head about, how do I make this match stand out? How do I make it special? How do I make it amazing? Because, you know, the group that she was in, they, you know, they're no longer there. So she was probably thinking, like, it's like all of us. We just want to be our best. We put the most pressure on ourselves. I know I do. Like, I'm the one that puts more pressure on myself than anyone. But I think with Zoe, I think she's just total pro, but I know she has very high standards for herself. So I think she wanted to do a lot in this match to really like remind everybody of who she is, because she is an incredible wrestler.
Amen to everything that Natalya just said. Amen to everything.
None of what she said is wrong. That woman is very talented. Something that Shayna had said for quite some time when she was there. You know, she said that she is so underrated. So many other of her partners that she's had, you know, over the time that she's been on the main roster have all said the exact same thing. We've seen it in NXT. So
exactly,
the praise that she's getting from Natalya is legit. We know how great she is.
And the thing that really... Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, and the sky would have been the limit had she been pushed.
And, you know, I'll say it. I think, you know, with Zoe Stark, there is something very special about her. You know, and what really, really I like to see, just the overall reaction among wrestlers. Like, Thunder Rosa even, you know, gave well wishes. Like, people that have never worked with her or worked, with WWE or whatever, I've said that, and even Rhea's comment, this is, a great business, a fun business, but it can also be a dangerous business. And just to see the outpouring of support from her peers is always really nice. I mean, people that have never worked with her, they don't need to do that.
I think for me, knowing her special and knowing the type of character that she was, like I remember first seeing her. Obviously, she was Lacey Ryan on the Indies for Future Stars of Wrestling. She did some matches in TNA, a couple matches with Jordan Grace. I think there was also one with Madison Rayne. But like she had that even in that time period around 2018, 2019 before COVID, and then as she got to the WWE and NXT in 2021. I mean, she just had that natural spark about her. You could tell like this is someone who gets it, and that's the overall what drives the presentation, the mechanics of a professional wrestler and professional wrestling. So I think she is definitely one of the good ones. And we here at the Weekly Review wish you nothing but love, happiness, and prayers, man. Here's to a speedy recovery and nothing but love for the great Z360 herself, Miss Zoe Stark. And speaking of nothing but love, as we just saw in that last clip of Natalya, I did go back and watch the match back, Paul, because Paul was very much in high praise of this matchup. Kenzie Page defeating Natalya for the NWA, the Crockett Cup there. I got to say, man, watching that back, Kenzie Page looked like a doggone star, and Natalya did her damn thing. What a hell of a match.
You gotta shout out Natalya. I mean, Natty. I don't want to get my ass kicked, so I'm going to call her Natty. I don't need her coming to LA and all of a sudden be like, what did you call me? I'm going to be like, Natty. I know, Natty.
She'll hurt you.
She going to hurt me. I mean, yeah, she going to hurt me. I'm not going to say what I was thinking, but she would hurt me. But you watch her in this match. You watch the match in from beginning to end, and you see how she said it on Busted Open. Like she literally told Bully, like, I could have ran all around her. I literally could have ran circles around her. But what I did, that's not what I was there for. I was there to put her over. And that's exactly what she did. She literally went in there and gave Mackenzie that natty rub. The same way she gave Charlotte that rub back when she was in NXT,
Yeah.
And Natty always likes to say that she was the one that lit that fire under Charlotte. And all of us can agree. You go back to that match that she had with her at TakeOver, and I believe it was TakeOver Brooklyn or TakeOver New York, one of the other ones. One of them, but
yeah, the early one, like the TakeOver.
Yeah, it was one of the early ones, and she literally put Charlotte on the map. She put everybody on notice about Charlotte in that match.
I even remember like watching Charlotte. Like, I'll be honest with you, like when she first came into NXT, she was kind of like meh. But then once, like you mentioned, once we got into Natalya with Ric Flair in her corner, Bret Hart and Natalya's corner, like that amplified Charlotte of, okay, we're gonna push you. This is where we see you, so you better live up to what we're doing here. And Natalya was there to help, and she did beautifully. And it was a great clash of styles and a great clash of just synergy there. And I mean, when you look at Natalya, like she'll work with anybody. I mean, she'll work with the Naomi's. She's even working with Maxine Dupree now. She'll work with anybody to make them better. And that is what really just sets the tone and is the great standard of what makes wrestling great and what makes the people who are in there who do their jobs so great. And I mean, speaking of someone who does their job, we mentioned Natalya.
One more thing. But what you're going to get right here, right now, is that insert. That's the clip. That's the clip from Natalya speaking about how she put over both Natty and Mackenzie. So, or Charlotte and Mackenzie. That's where that's everything she said was completely perfect. I mean, beginning to end, you could literally say Natty was the one that made Charlotte, and Charlotte has gone on record as saying that match with Natty was literally the one that propelled her into being the queen that she became, that eventually did become.
Absolutely. And that clip will be inserted right here in this portion of the show.
I did for Kenzie what I've done for many people in the industry. And if I'm going to talk the talk, I'm going to remind you guys of the walks that I've walked. You look at Charlotte Flair. Charlotte wasn't able to be Charlotte until I brought out a different side in her. So I was able to do that. I gave Charlotte the natty rub. And Charlotte is a very close friend of mine. I absolutely love her and I respect the shit out of Charlotte. But Charlotte talks about it all the time. When I had that match with her at TakeOver in 2014, I brought out a different side of her, a side of her that she didn't know existed. So I did the same thing for Kenzie. I did the exact same thing for Kenzie. Kenzie is in her early 20s, and she got to understand about who the fuck I am. I got to run circles around Kenzie. I'm 42 years old running circles around a 20-year-old girl. And that's why when you train in the dungeon, you learn how to fight for your life. Kenzie didn't realize when she was wrestling me that I love the taste of blood in my mouth. I love bruises underneath my clothes. I fucking live for this.
And speaking of something in this portion of the show, Natty attacked a fan after her match with Kenzie Page, and this was the footage from said fan attack.
Fucking Malcolm. I fucking love it. I love fucking Malcolm that he had to fucking be there.
It was hilarious. Like, that was great. That set.
Damn it, DC, what the hell were you doing in freaking Georgia trying to get your ass beat by fucking Natty?
Right?
Normal night.
Normal night.
Okay.
But that was perfect. Like, that was
And
freaking.
some people are into that kind of thing. What can I say?
Hey, what can you say?
Hey, you know what? All the power to you. All the power to you.
All the power to you. And I mean,
Have you seen Natty?
this is true.
Have you seen Natty's sister?
Oh, Jenny Neidhart. Ooh. Yep. Damn.
Damn. Can we insert that gif of Vince, in his chair falling over?
Yes, right about here.
Can we insert that somewhere here, Mike?
You know the best part of watching them review food or cook food at home is when they're wearing like low cut tops. That's probably the best part of it. But what makes it even better is when they start chopping the shit out of each other on their breasts. And I'm like, y'all just trying to get views. Literally, open face, open chest. You see Natty Holdart just whack out, bam, right across her sister's chest. And then Jenny turns around and goes, what back? Right across her chest. So it's like you get a whole lot more than just a cookie show with them or whatever review that they do. Go watch them.
They're beautiful.
You don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's the beautiful part of their sisterhood and everything. And I mean,
I wonder if they hate Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg. I bet they do hate Bill Goldberg. Oh, and
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan and
Everybody
fuck Bill
hates the
Goldberg.
Hulk Hogan.
God, Benjamin Shelton
Iron Sheik from Beyond still
hates Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Okay. On to what the latest news that is breaking this week.
News. So we will go with both of them before I play the Triple H video. Per PW Insider, TKO's decision to return to Vegas for WrestleMania 42 is mainly profit driven, as they believe they can repeat this year's strong numbers. Some in the company say this wouldn't have happened under the Vince McMahon era, showing how much things have changed.
I think you flipped this backwards. I don't know why. What you should have started with is breaking, or the fact that WWE WrestleMania is not happening in New Orleans next year.
Yes.
They had literally pulled out of giggity. Anyways, they pulled out of fucking WrestleMania in New Orleans. Sorry, Dwayne. And now they are officially actually going back to Vegas. This was literally, they took the highest bidder, like it's the Olympics or something.
Yes.
And now they're going back to Vegas. Yay, it's my next chance to see WrestleMania. Ain't no last year because damn, that shit was expensive as all hell.
Yeah, and that's what
But
everybody...
I didn't have to pay for a hotel and I didn't have to pay for food because, well, guess what? Paul's mom lives there.
Yes. But that's the thing, too. Everybody...
Hi, Paul's mom!
Hi, Paul's mom! This is what everybody's going about them at. It's like the prices and all that stuff.
Hi, Mom. I'll be back in Vegas next year because I'm going to be there for WrestleMania.
Yes, but that's the thing, too. They're always talking about
I might bring friends.
Yes, there is the profit side of things, and I'm just like, but y'all, they got to make money. It's a business. I know it's expensive, but they got to make it's a business. Like, what do you want them to do? Like, I understand where they're coming from, and also being in Las Vegas back to back is huge for them because of the fight capital of the world and everything that goes into it. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's better than what we originally thought. Like, oh God, are they going to go to Saudi Arabia? Some people even said, what if they go to London, which I would love to see a WrestleMania London. I think that's more of a closer than a Saudi Arabia idea.
They would probably be more profitable going to, I don't know. How about Australia? But the only difference is that it would be wintertime in Australia.
In Australia, yeah.
So having an outdoor venue, having an outdoor event in the middle of, I don't know, winter may not be the best idea.
Yeah. So, Dan, what are your thoughts on them going back to Vegas again?
Road trip?
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan. Okay.
Seriously, I get it. We live in a capitalist society, and it's business. Like, your job is to make money, and you have shareholders to answer to. You have employees to answer to. It makes sense. Do we like it? No,
but it's a business.
Is it going to be another expensive as hell WrestleMania? Absolutely.
But that's the way.
Here's the thing.
Let me put a little bow on this for you.
Sure.
So the tag team girls that are they have their own Instagram. Go follow them. They're awesome. They're twin sisters. One of the things that they had actually said was that they got their tickets literally maybe an hour or two before the event started, and they literally paid about $150 a ticket.
Wow.
Which isn't bad. Now, that's just for one night. Now, if you theoretically look at it for $300, this is what she said. She said, but that's not counting the room that they got. That's not counting the food that they expensed. We're just literally talking about the event, period. And they literally had really, really great seats. Go back, follow them. They'll go look at their little vlog that they had. And they literally focused on where they were sitting at. And they had great seats. I have to admit, they had really great seats. So at least in my opinion, I think if you can find tickets that are still available, and they opened up spots at Allegiant that literally right above the entranceway. If you go back on other people's vlogs, they're literally right above. There are not even tables, they're like couches that are right above the entranceway where everybody came out in that building that looked like a hotel.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, actually.
It adds a nice little aesthetic to it. Like, I think that's really cool about the presentation. And I mean, and people are going to say what they will because, also NXT is not going to be in Tampa on Tuesday because, of the, it got canceled because of limited ticket sales. But I'm like, you already have 3 days, nights of Saturday night's main event, NXT Battleground, Raw, and then NXT. And I'm like, what do you think people are going to go more to, Raw or NXT? So, I mean, they have Orlando for the PC. So, I mean, this is not really like that big of a deal for NXT. They can just go back right to the PC. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, to them, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, they were supposed to have an NXT show in Tampa, which was originally supposed to happen. I mean, I think that they should try and find a different venue. But hey, you know what? If it's cheaper to go back to the PC, then go back to the PC. This way you're not spending so much of the money. You give people back their whatever they spent on it, and we're back again.
You know what? I'll say it. Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk. I'll goes back to Hulk Hogan.
But in all seriousness, people will just look for any reason to bitch.
That they do. And I mean, that's always been the IWC's discourse, just to bitch and moan and cry. And speaking of bitch and moaning and crying, Triple H just made the announcement. A lot of people were like, why? But I'm like, I get it. So not only is New Orleans not going to be home to WrestleMania, but New Orleans is now going to be the new home for 2026 Money in the Bank.
Hey, it's the Game, Triple H. I'm sure everyone saw our joint statement yesterday regarding the shift in some of the dates on the WWE calendar. Well, today I want to announce to you the first of those, one of which we're very excited about. Coming to New Orleans on Saturday, August 29th, 2026, will be Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is one of our biggest events of the year with high stakes, amazing drama, and the chance of a lifetime for two WWE superstars to walk away with the coveted Money in the Bank briefcase. We can't wait, and we look forward to seeing you there. Stay tuned for more details on a WrestleMania coming to New Orleans, which will be announced at a later date. I want to say a big thank you to our great local partners from both the state and the city, as well as the Greater New Orleans Sports Foundation, New Orleans & Company, and the city's first-class convention center for their continued support as our major live event calendar in New Orleans continues to expand and evolve. So that just leaves one question. Are you ready?
All righty, you heard it from Triple H himself.
DC, please go first because I got something to say.
I mean, I get it. I understand it. I still think it's pretty fucking shitty. You know, is this what TKO is going to be? Yeah. But if you people honestly thought for 1 second that things were going to continue running as they were, you know what? Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
All right, Paul, you got something to say, and then I'll chime in at the end of it.
Okay, so this was the math that I did. Okay, so we knew that WrestleMania is probably more than likely going to fall. Still in the same weekend. I believe it was the weekend of the 19th and 20th. I believe it was of the month. Which, if you theoretically look at it, I don't quote me on that. Saturday.
Yeah, WrestleMania
16th to 17th, 16th to 17th, somewhere around there.
Yes.
Anyways, literally, that's the only weekend where there's no sporting events that are happening in April. You have the Final Four, which finish, which will be held in Indianapolis next year, April 4th and April 6th. The 2026 Masters will be the 19th to the 12th. And then the draft is the following at the end of the month, which will be held in Pittsburgh. But I'm saying like they're literally the 19th. So if you're going to look at this, we're going to be back in April, back in Vegas again, probably the same dates. I'm guessing it's going to be the exact same dates because if you don't do it that time, and I know that one thing that they've tried to stress, I think for the last couple of WrestleManias, was not doing it the same weekend of other live sporting events. So the only thing that gets me is tell me if I'm wrong. So now we're moving Money in the Bank from which will happen the beginning of next month. Now we're moving it to August.
Right after.
So we're gonna have SummerSlam 2 nights.
Yep.
And then we're gonna have Money in the Bank about a week or 2 later.
Yes.
Make that make sense to me.
I know, that's the thing too. Just they're so close in advance.
Is WWE literally oversaturating live events?
Yes. I think they need to cut down on the live events to be.
Shut up, DC. But you have to look at it like this. There are no more live events except for with the live event. The only live events that they're doing, I mean, house shows, those live events. They're no longer doing them, except for the holiday tour that they do shortly after Christmas. They literally do 5-6 dates, which are house shows, and then they ramp up the new year. That's literally how the end of the year goes. So what are we going to get? We're getting saturated. We're going to have Saturday night's main event literally every other month, which is 6 times a year. We got WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. That's 10. Not to mention the other pay-per-views, literally like Money in the Bank. Bad Blood, I believe, is still another one.
Yep, Bad Blood's
Backlash, that's 13. So it's like literally we may have actually 2, maybe 3 a month.
I mean, yeah, the Queen and King of the Ring is another one. That
The
adds.
Queen and King of the Ring, which is also held overseas.
Yep. They're oversaturating it. It's much like when we used to have everything back in the day where it was just like, okay, we have, for example, like WWE will introduce Great Balls of Fire. Then there's Extreme Rules. Then there's Payback. Then there's Money.
Great Balls of Fire, that's Dan's nickname.
But only on Saturdays.
So it's, that being said, I understand. It's just they're overdoing it. And I mean, this is how TK rolls, and everybody's like, well, we're not shocked because look what they do with UFC and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, but this is who TKO is. It's UFC. It's WWE. Am I shocked? No. Is it shitty? Yeah, kind of. But I mean, it's the business way. That's why we may not like it, much like Dan said earlier, but that's how it is. But I will say something.
I'll pay you.
I'll pay you.
But I think that's why that's more or less the reason why they've had a lot of pay-per-views overseas. Strictly for this one thing. You could still have a live event and it be in the morning, mid-morning. For you guys, it would be late morning, and early enough for us to watch it, and then still stuff happen at night, like a UFC fight.
Right.
Still later on in the evening. So it could still possibly happen. And still run events later on in the evening. So we could still get, which we believe, Clash at the Castle or whatever, Clash in Paris, Clash at the
Castle, yes.
Clash in Goslow, Clash in Berlin. For all these clashes, for all we know, look, but they'll all be overseas. We get them in the morning. We get them in the early morning. You get them mid-morning. So
it's a happy medium, and I mean, I have to share this with you because we'll get to the other big thing that happened at SmackDown later on because it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment, but this also came out of SmackDown. So they did a backstage segment with Legado del Fantasma. Berto wanted to really not hear it. We're going to see the breakaway of Berto from Legado del Fantasma, but this Santos is like, this should pique your interest. So the first match has been announced for When Worlds Collide on June 7th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as it is a trios match as Legado del Fantasma takes on El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., the son of Dr. Wagner Jr., Psycho Clown, and Pagano. That's the first match announced for When Worlds Collide.
El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr.
What do you think, Paul?
Psycho Clown. This is going to be an interesting event, which this guy will be there with his wife.
Nice.
My love and I will be there, and we will be holding it down because my wife has this thing for, no offense, white guys. And his name is Joe Hendry. Yeah, she wants to go see Joe Hendry. She wants to see him live. She wants to sing the song. She wants to wave. She believes in Joe Hendry. And she's going to wear her shirt. So,
Paul, you have a keeper.
You have a keeper, man.
I know.
Oh, but yes, that made me excited just because if there's that
and speaking of seeing Joe Hendry, now you're going to have to put up the other one about here.
Okay.
TNA representatives are going to be Moose, Joe Hendry,
The Nemeth.
Nick Nemeth, I forgot, or Matt, I believe the Hardys, aren't they? I believe the Hardys are the other one.
Yeah.
But still, you're still getting representatives from TNA, and that's amazing.
I think that works perfectly, man. And I mean, it's one of the things where it's a hot time to really see how these companies come together. We mentioned it many a times. This is not the Vince McMahon era anymore. We would have not seen this under the Vince McMahon regime. And I mean, I think this will segue to our next one because we also did get the news, and we'll put the links and everything right here for the photos. NXT Europe looks to be launching later on in the year. And I already saw people complaining like, "Oh, WWE wants to monetize and monopolize." I'm like, they're doing the ID showcases with Evolve, so those talent on Evolve can work the indies still. And also, this just headlines and highlights what NXT UK should have been, and now we have NXT Europe, which is going to be great for the NXT brand and the international talents.
No,
why did NXT UK falter?
Vince McMahon, the hush money, and the COVID.
That's all
the whole COVID.
all you need to know.
Yep, COVID.
That's
and
all you need to know is that Vince McMahon didn't want to back it the way he was backing everything else.
Right.
He didn't want to put forth the effort to try and make that brand be something more than what it was.
That's what I'm saying. You had a hot commodity with that brand. It was one of my favorite times of the week watching it Thursday mid-afternoon. But the problem is, like you mentioned, Vince didn't back it. And also at the same time, too, COVID didn't help, like Daniel mentioned, because, again, it was in the small studio. But, I mean, at the same time, too, when they even got to that When Worlds Collide and then everybody lost their titles and that was the end of NXT UK, you had something special. But with the NXT Europe, where you could pick people from AAA, people from Japan, people from all over the world, this is the incarnation of what it should have been before NXT UK became NXT UK. So, I mean, I think it's very exciting, and it adds a lot of great elements to what we get to see going forward in professional wrestling. And
that was before we ended up with NXT 2.0.
Oh God, please don't take me back to NXT 2.0.
That never happened.
Never happened. Thank you, Shawn Michaels, for
Control Alt Delete.
Control Alt Delete. And also something else we got to mention here, because we mentioned the NWA. So breaking news from the NWA, as they mentioned on their Twitter, the National Wrestling Alliance is joining the world of free streaming with Wrestling Central, a new 24/7 fast channel from Paramount Global Content Distribution, launching soon on the Roku channel in the US and Canada. For the first time, fans can stream classic NWA matches, exclusive bouts, and specials completely free. NWA and Women of Wrestling head to streaming with Roku Fast Channel. So shout out to both WOW Women of Wrestling and NWA, because this is big for both of these companies and just in general.
Yeah, we don't get the syndicated whenever it pops up on our TVs for Women of Wrestling. I mean, and it'll be great for them. It'll be great for them to actually be on a streaming service. And I would really look forward to Jeannie Buss actually doing shows, like more than just what they're doing on the weekly show. I would like to see them do like a pay-per-view.
I agree.
It doesn't have to be in a big venue. It could be in the same place that they've been recording the show at, much like TNA used to do back in the days in their Impact Zone. You know, they had the same venue for a lot of their pay-per-views. They could do that over and over again, and maybe 4 times a year, 5 times.
That's what I'm here for, man. And I think people underestimate the NWA. And I think, again, having Natty go over there was excellent. If we can get more of that. And like I said, we talk about things that have changed from Vince McMahon this past week on Raw when Natty was in the qualifier for Money in the Bank. You heard Michael Cole over the weekend, Natty do an NWA. She also did Bloodsport. Like, they gave praise to Natty doing the NWA and Bloodsport. That is what we need. And that is the perfect synergy for professional wrestling. And I mean, speaking of professional wrestling, we are a fan of this young woman, like we mentioned in our last show. On July 27th for Atomic Legacy Wrestling, we have Elena Black, for the first time ever, the former Cora Jade, taking on Izzy Moreno at the Ocean Center Arena for Atomic Wrestling. And I love it, man. Like getting to see Izzy go in there with Cora Jade, someone who she's met, people who were both fans of Bayley. So you get to see a nice little clash between both Elena and Izzy.
Come on, DC.
I would not be two things.
Yes.
I would not be shocked to see Elena Black, Cora Jade end up back in WWE. I would not be shocked at all.
Yeah, I mean, I could see her going to TNA and then they do that relationship.
And lastly, fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan. But yeah, no, I am totally looking forward to that match. And Paul, what do you got to say about the former Elena Black going head to head with that girl, Izzy Moreno?
One thing that I've already emphasized prior to this is, or I've already said earlier in the show, a lot of these women should go to TNA. And I've said, and the reason why I continue to keep saying that is we look at Indy Hartwell, who's already there. We look at the former Xia Li, who is there. You know, Dana Brooke, who is there. You know, Ash by Elegance. We can continue on talking about the women who were in WWE who have made their way over to TNA and who are literally paving their own way for themselves in the company. So it's only a matter of time before we get there, but I would love to see not only Elena, but so many others that were released to make their way over there and, you know, thrive. Wrestle.
I agree wholeheartedly. And speaking of wrestling, we do have great wrestling shows this weekend. But before even we get to this topic right here, and then we talk about everybody's favorite people, we do have to talk about this because this is something that was very special. Karrion Kross was on Ariel Helwani, and he talks about the biggest misconception anyone can take from what he said on WrestleMania with that promo, that epic shoot promo. This is one of the clips from Killer Kross on Ariel Helwani.
I mean, we've always been ready to go, man. Like, and we're hungry. Like, the biggest misconception anyone can take from what I said on WrestleMania was that I'm disgruntled. I'm not. I'm just really, really, really hungry, man. I'm really hungry. All of this is coming from a place of passion. And, you know, it's, for me, it's all about the grand scheme of things. Like, people are paying to come watch the greatest show in the world. I want to be a reason on the show where they felt like they got every single cent, you know, worth of that. I want to be more than just an Easter egg. I want to be more than just a guy in the back ruining people's lives. And I will admit, I do enjoy ruining people's lives. There's definitely something wrong with me, but only the internet can judge me. I mean, we've always been ready to go.
That right there just shows the determination that he has for the art of professional wrestling, his character, his brand. And I'm going to tell you right now, I hope that guy wins the Money in the Bank for the men. And if he even gets into the match, I think he would be a great shoo-in.
Mind if I take this one first, Paul?
Good.
Go for it.
If you want
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk.
That too. That was coming. But I will say first and foremost, Kross is money. Like, you saw that promo. He is leading in merch sales over established talent. He's getting reactions. If you want to take a chance, give him Money in the Bank.
Yep.
Let him hold on to it for a while. To where you just see him occasionally just show up and just be like, I got it. Don't be one of those guys that comes out and teases a cash in. Don't do that. We have seen that. Literally every freaking person does that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the last year where we didn't see that.
Otis
even did that.
Otis did it where he cashed in or wanted to cash in and teased it. It's a common trope, but we don't need that. Or I mean, you had Rob Van Dam come out as the babyface and said, "Hey, John Cena, I challenge you a one-night stand." You could do the babyface route, but he's a heel. Just be calculated with it. Do the Jake the Snake Roberts mannerisms.
Is he a heel though?
He's listed as a heel, but he's more of a babyface in a lot of our eyes because everybody wants to see him. The bouts he had with Dragon Lee and Tyler Bate on main event. Oof.
Is making himself undeniable.
Yes, he is.
Where I guarantee you, if they were to cut him, you can't tell me there isn't a promotion alive that wouldn't be. Every promotion would be tripping over themselves to sign him.
No, Tony Khan would be the first on the phone.
I'll pay you. Kevin, come to my company. I'll pay you.
Kevin. Ah!
Look, I will say, because we've all seen those ads on Facebook, especially if you're a wrestling fan. He's coming out with a book. It's due out in August. Yes, I did buy a signed copy.
Nice. Okay. All right now. I mean, I
and
think
lastly, fuck the Hulk Hogan.
If there's anyone to have a great book and really give you pearls of wisdom about his life in professional wrestling, it is the one and only Mr. Kevin Kross, Killer Kross, Karrion Kross, however you want to classify him. But Paul,
Kevin,
there you go.
That is it. Like, I would never make fun of that name because, well, he'd hurt me.
Yes, he would. So
I think you have to look at his body of work. And literally, he has gone from being literally a guy that's in the background, that does main event matches, not main event, but like
The show
main
main
event before the show main event. Doing backstage appearances and whatnot. But the thing that makes him stand out is literally he has that it factor. He has that it factor where people should just like take notice and say, guess what? This guy is there and you need to watch him. He came out literally and told Roman Reigns, came out with the hourglass, turned it upside down and said thinking it would be only a matter of time before they all left you. And look at what happened. They all left him. That could have been something that should have been something that they should have pushed to the forefront of everything, and they could have made something out of that. Unfortunately, they didn't. But what we got from this promo is literally him pouring out his heart, telling everybody in the back, telling executives, I'm here, I want to work, I want to bust my ass for you guys. And that's exactly what he was going to do. He was bound and determined to do that. And it would have worked for him amazingly. I think he should win Money in the Bank. I wholeheartedly agree with it. Nobody else.
He also said in an interview, he said, some people have told me to leave. He said, that's not what I do. He said, I don't believe in the grass is greener on the other side. I believe you stick it out, you make it work, you find a way. And I look at him, you all remember his run in NXT.
Oh, yeah. I even
Before he got hurt. The fact, the whole thing with Regal and then his feud with Samoa Joe, which Vince fucked that up because Vince took that over.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Vince. He's money.
You give him the mic, you let him run a promo, that boy is golden. Period.
What about this?
Go ahead.
Imagine this. Getting towards the end of Cena's, tour, no one's been able to beat him. So what do? You make a deal with the devil. What does Karrion Kross call himself?
The devil you know versus devil you don't know.
So what if you go to Kross and you just say, we need you to do this?
I like the pitch. I think that story with the promos that both of them would cut on each other definitely works. And I mean, for me, like we've known, like you mentioned, the NXT run. I'll take it back even to the TNA run, that epic TNA debut where he had the card and he threw it down, and just that whole feud from 2018 to 2019 that he had with Eddie Edwards. I mean, stuff like that. If you give the man the mic, if you give him a promising storyline with the vignettes, he's golden, much like Paul said. So, I mean, I think the sky's the limit, especially in 2025 for Mr. Karrion.
You could either do one of two things. You could either get him to win Money in the Bank, which I think he should.
Yes.
Or you get him to win King of the Ring, so he gets a match gets a title shot at SummerSlam.
Yep.
There's the only two things that I believe should happen, because it would literally boost who he is, and his character would be literally from where it is now. If he's a top merch seller, and he literally surpassed Yeet,
That's it right there, man. When you're surpassing some of the top superstars right now that they're pushing to the moon and has really also put in the work ethic in their own right, that's saying something. That's what the crowd wants. And as somebody else awesomely said, we got to give the people what they want. So give us what we want. Give us what we want. And that being Karrion.
Got to have it.
Gots to have it. Karrion Kross says Mr. Money in the Bank. And speaking of gots to have it, well, we don't want it, or we don't want to have it. Uncle Dave.
Fuck the Dave Meltzer.
He made this comment about Will Ospreay and Hangman Page, who was going to be main eventing Double or Nothing.
Oh, God, that bullshit.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk about the promo because everybody was praising it and thought it was the greatest thing on the history of our sport. So
look at that fucking haircut.
I know. I know.
That's like the haircut of a fucking 10-year-old back in the 90s.
Easy there, Cowboy.
Paul, you know the haircut I'm talking about. Paul, you know the haircut I'm talking about.
Yep. So Dave Meltzer praises how real Will Ospreay's promo on AEW Dynamite felt in comparison to John Cena and Cody Rhodes. So Dave Meltzer would say, this is what Cena and Cody Rhodes should have been and never hit that level, which surprises me because Cena and Cody Rhodes would have been considered as good promos as these guys. With Cody Rhodes and Cena, they're so polished and practiced, very professional. It's not a knock on them, but they're not real at all. Even when they throw real barbs out, they were never real. I never got the feeling of real. With Will Ospreay, every word he said, the way he said it, with the conviction he said it, I got the feeling that it was real. Hangman had to do his act of depression and everything like that, and that was great. It was maybe Hangman's best promo ever, but these guys, it was absolutely spectacular. So that was Dave Meltzer's thoughts on Will Ospreay and Hangman Page. Better than John Cena and Cody Rhodes on the build-up to WrestleMania, where John Cena talked about you stole it, you used the owner's father's money. Cody talking about a slight jab to Vince and the war of words that they had building to Cena and Cody, which that was probably the best of the in-ring segments that they had. And then the Crossroads, that was the best. Those last two before Mania were the best of the jabs between them. But you felt something, it was real. We're coming off the John Cena heel turn, so it made sense, and it was a change of scenery from what we would usually get from John Cena. So they went with that decision. And I watched this promo back, I was fine with it. I didn't hate it, but also at the same time, too, it's the same stuff with Adam Page being depressed and crying. Will Ospreay saying, bruv, I'm the best in the world, bruv. And Will Ospreay doesn't help himself because of the interviews that he's been doing about how we're better than WWE in all aspects and him putting his foot in his mouth. But that's the way the cookie crumbles when it comes to Will Ospreay and Hangman Page. So I'll start with you, Paul Morales, before Dan comes back into our screen here. What were your thoughts on what Dave Meltzer just said about Will Ospreay and Hangman being better than Cena and Cody Rhodes?
They're on different platforms,
and it's a different.
And I don't mean different. I don't mean different companies. They're on different levels.
Right.
You have to understand. If you cut a promo on somebody, if you want to get personal with somebody, fine, get personal with somebody. If you want to drag in, family members or past indiscretions,
right,
whatever, you decide to get into that personal aspect of it, fine, do that. You want to talk about how many years you've been in wrestling, how many, what you could do in wrestling, what you've accomplished in wrestling, fine, go ahead and do that. But they're not the same. You can't put them in the same category. Is it a good promo? Yes. I thought it was a really good promo. I thought what they did in the ring, what Hangman and freaking Mr. Brav, fucking Ospreay, all they did was that they literally went at each other like in a promo what they should have done. If one was not better than the other, they just were different. I just think, in my opinion, personal, I just think that they were both equally good, whether Dave fucking believes it or not. One, and I know who's fucking lining his pocket, if that makes any sense. We know where the fucking, we know who's lining his pocket for him to say all this shit. And the only reason why he isn't going with WWE is because it's Triple H in charge and not Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm. Clearly. Dan, you want to talk about their respective promos and how he compared it to Cena and Rhodes and how Cena and Rhodes sucked and this was better?
Fuck the Hulk Hogan. Fuck the Dave Meltzer. The fact that people take this fucking clown seriously still is fucking beyond me. And you know what? I'll do you one better.
Okay.
These comments that Ospreay seems to fucking make about WWE every fucking week now, it seems. Why?
Because he has to defend the brand, bruv.
I'll do you one better. I got a theory for you.
Okay.
You notice Tony Khan isn't really making comments about WWE anymore?
Yeah, he's been very quiet about that.
No, but he sends out his fucking talking people to fucking go out there and do it for him.
Bingo.
He ain't got to say shit. Why? He just needs his actual wrestlers to go out and talk shit about WWE. Which one of these wrestlers would not talk shit about WWE on his roster as we speak? Would not talk shit about WWE.
Dustin.
Dustin Rhodes.
Everyone that has been in WWE would not talk shit about the company. Why? Because they all know and they all respect Triple H.
Yes.
That's the difference.
And Tony got butthurt because of those bald assholes. So he's never going to get over that. Much like Will Ospreay, I'm going to say it right now, is never going to get over the grind as that thing that Triple H said, which he never ever mentioned you, Will. He never mentioned you specifically. So yeah, Will Ospreay's going to Will Ospreay. Dave Meltzer.
I guarantee you, it's Tony Khan is probably saying, "Hey, if you want to mention WWE, do it."
You know what? Talk about him. Fuck him. So speaking of WWE, Mercedes Moné. So we go over to, I know. So this week she put her foot in her mouth twice, calling herself the Beyonce of professional wrestling. You better sit your ass down. You ain't nothing but a bugaboo. You make me want to throw my pager out the window. Tell MCI to cut the phone poles. Break my lease so I can move because you a bugaboo. I want to put your number on the call block. Have AOL make my email stop because you a bugaboo. You're bugging what? You bugging who? You bugging me? Don't you see it ain't cool? So the bugaboo Mercedes.
Michael, stop.
You're what? Come on, man. I love bugaboo. Kobe, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. He's in the video. Mama mentality. Baby.
I know.
Mama mentality. Come on.
No.
It's my jam. Don't hate me on that.
Thank you.
Writing's on the wall. Literally. So you want to talk about her calling
He's
herself?
like, that's my favorite album.
First of all, the writing's on the wall. It's a jam. I can't even lie. That's a fucking
Stop it.
Whatever. So Paul, you want to comment on the Beyonce of wrestling being crazy in love with professional wrestling?
She's not the Beyonce of any damn thing. She's not even the Beyonce of her own damn home.
Oh shit.
Well, take that back. She could probably be the Beyonce of her own damn home because ain't nobody there to fucking pick up the damn phone. So whatever fucking floats your boat, Mercedes, whatever the fuck floats your boat. If that's what you feel like you need to do, hey, I'll miss single lady, all the single ladies.
I put your hands up. She's a survivor. Now, Dan.
No.
Okay, this ties into it.
Not when you're the one. The reason. No, when you're not the reason. When you're the reason why they left.
Yes,
that's it.
Exactly. So we also just came upon the 3-year anniversary of Sasha and Naomi leaving the WWE. Look at Naomi now, being her great self, developing this psycho character that she's turned the volume on. You could tell she's invested and she's loving what she's doing. And then on the other channel, you got Mercedes Moné just being Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, and just
literally the same fucking gimmick she's been using the last 10 years.
Like 12 years, yeah. So Daniel, you want to comment on the Beyonce of professional wrestling, Daniel?
What a crock of horse shit.
Speaking of horse shit, so Mercedes Moné recently did an interview with Undisputed, and she reflects on her experience in WWE, and people gave her shit for this. And she said, and I quote, "There were so many times when I was getting 4-minute matches, or we get to the building and something would change. You'd spend weeks planning for it all to change at the last minute." This happened with everybody. like not just you. Like, again, everybody's like, did she go up in the Divas era? I'm like, she was on the main roster in 2015, where they were focusing more on women's wrestling and the women's evolution. Like to be honest with you, when she got into the roster, the 4-minute matches for the women kind of stopped. Yeah. Hit me.
But who the fuck was in charge?
Vince McMahon.
So you're bitching and complaining, and I'm literally going to say this. You're literally bitching and complaining about Vince McMahon and the shit that he did.
Right.
You left when Vince McMahon was in charge.
Right.
How the fuck do you know what it's like to work under Triple H?
And you don't. You could have.
You don't. But you're going to sit there and bitch and complain about my time this, my time that. Just focus on the person who was in charge and literally say, Vince fucked us up. Vince was the reason why a lot of us fucking were so upset, so disgruntled that we literally had to, when the moment came and we got our release, guess what? We were gone.
Deuces.
You and Naomi, you and Trinity decided to leave because of the way Vince treated you. Point blank. Nothing else but the fact that Vince was the reason why you left. and the way he was treating all the women, not specifically you, everyone. So till the end, you can die on that hill of bitching and complaining about, oh, well, we didn't get this, we didn't get that. Look, be fucking specific about who you were mad at. Just say Vince McMahon is the reason why you fucking left. Period.
I mean, perfect example was that night when they left, it was supposed to be a 6-way for the number 1 contendership, and then it turned to Becky Lynch and Asuka, and Vince McMahon had Michael Cole and Corey Graves literally take a shot at them for walking out that same night. That was a Vince McMahon call. That was not a Triple H call. That was all Vince McMahon saying, hey, you want to fuck us and leave? Then, well, here, goodbye. Adios, amigos. So, I mean, he literally said deuces live on the air without actually saying deuces. So, Dan, you want to talk about the 3-year anniversary of them leaving and Mercedes' comments?
Again, it falls under I guarantee Tony, said, go ahead, talk about that.
How about it? And
I'm over her.
Speaking of Tony, as we do have Double or Nothing, we'll start with AEW and talk about their matches. But the last AEW news here is PW Insider reports that AEW sources noted they are pointing fans towards Prime Video or YouTube for pay-per-views in the United States. As of today, AEW was not expected to make Double or Nothing pay-per-view available on Triller. Fight TV sources noted they're still hoping to come to terms to carry the show. So that's the latest on Double or Nothing and what's going on with them.
Who the fuck cares?
That's the latest where they're pointing in direction. But yeah, AEW Double or Nothing.
Seriously,
where we're going.
Who the fuck cares?
I know, I feel you, but that's where we're going. So, Paul, you have anything to add with that change as far as that, or eh?
No, I think it's going to be no.
So, the date of the pay-per-view, of course, it's May 25th, 2025, and we are approaching the 6-year anniversary of the first event, which was May 25th, 2019 for Double or Nothing. And I said it with Rob and Nicola. I will say it with you too, my dear friends. It's night and motherfucking day. But if you look at in comparison with that card, which had Cody versus Dustin, the Young Bucks against the Lucha Brothers, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, and the debut of Jon Moxley, compared to what we have now 6 years later, it's just this card is a lot of filler. It's a lot of whatever, and it's 10 matches of just whatever. It's literally 10 matches on this show.
That are so fucking predictable, it's not even funny.
So we'll run down the card here. So the buy-in is – so she was on the card last month against Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship, went nowhere. Now she's on the buy-in as Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford take on Anna Jay and Harley Cameron, and Anna Jay's fat ass with a PH. Jamie Hayter versus Mercedes Moné. Timeless Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa, which I will say, as much as I love it just because of the two women involved, number one, Mercedes is going to beat Jamie, and number two, Toni's winning, but they just signed Mina Shirakawa. So why, after only being on full-time in AEW for 2 weeks, we're going to have her job out like this? Like, 2 weeks of just her getting there, she's going to lose. And then you have the Hurt Syndicate against the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, which Sammy hasn't been on TV. Most of they've been on Collision. They're the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions who beat Crew. Who beat Crew, Action Andretti and Leo Rush, who cares about Action Andretti and Leo Rush to get that title shot. We have FTR against Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia, which, all right, Gunther and Pat McAfee had a great match, and it was fantastic. So now we're going to have Nigel help out Daniel Garcia because Nigel helped out Tony Schiavone not get the spike pile driver from Daniel Garcia, and it's just whatever. Mark Briscoe and Ricochet in a stretcher match that makes absolutely no fucking sense. We have Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, and the Ops against the Death Riders and the Young Bucks and Anarchy in the arena. We have, out of nowhere, Paragon in a trios match, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong against the Don Callis families, Takeshita, Fletcher, and Alexander, Okada and Speedball Mike Bailey. And, of course, the main event of this fine program is Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page. So that is your Double or Nothing. Does any of that pique your interest? No.
I'm going to go back to something I continually stress.
Yes.
The wrestling will be great. The wrestling will be really, really great. I have no doubt that every every performer will go out there and show out like they're supposed to, like they're getting paid to do. But our issue has always been the booking.
Yep.
Has always been the literally lackluster stories. The card looks fine. I don't have any. A lot of it is very much predictable as to who's going to win, who's going to lose. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a run in. I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be a limit draw. I'm pretty sure that at this
Table
point,
spot.
At this point, I'm not even surprised at any of the things that AEW does anymore. But it is what it is, and we're going to get what we're going to get. At the end of the day, what we're looking at is AEW is going to do what they're going to do. This isn't their big show anymore.
No.
We're literally
he's back in catering.
We're literally on our way back to All In Texas next month. So this is pretty much your filler show between, which is pretty much what Backlash is between shows. So have at it.
It is what it is. And I mean, you have Will Ospreay and Hangman Page, which I think the fitting story would be to have Hangman win, and then he beats Moxley in Texas, but I don't see that happening. I see Ospreay winning, and then Moxley beats Ospreay, because we have to wait for Darby to come back, and congratulations to Darby Allin on climbing Mount Everest, you crazy son of a bitch.
Woohoo.
Woohoo, Darby. You go, boy. But no, I think that's amazing. But yeah, no, Mark Briscoe and Ricochet, and with the story being that, Ricochet wanted to pay for Zach Gowen's hospital bill, and he took out Zach Gowen, and apparently the Briscoes and Zach Gowen were homies in Ring of Honor, so Mark Briscoe has to defend the honor of Zach Gowen to get to this stretcher match, which, again, out of mothballs. You have, again, Hurt Syndicate and Sons of Texas is just filler to what we get to with MJF going against Bobby Lashley. And I haven't been on board with this story because it just reminds me of 4 years ago with the Pinnacle. Like, MJF's going to turn on them much like they did with the Inner Circle. So I think we're going to get something like that. Who cares about FTR against Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness? Daniel Garcia is a terrible promo. He sounds like he's got a bag of dicks in his mouth. Other than that, I mean, his wrestling ability, sure, whatever. But Nigel McGuinness, and I love Nigel. Been a fan of Nigel since 2005. But this, again, is just like whatever. Everything on this show is whatever to me. And Mike Bailey and Okada, the only reason that's happening is because he took out Kevin Knight, who was Mike Bailey's tag team partner, and now Okada and Speedball Mike Bailey, here we are. It's lazy, and it's just there's nothing that you can be emotionally invested in. Mercedes Moné and Jamie Hayter is predictable. Like,
I wonder who's going to win that.
Exactly. Everything.
I wonder who is going to win that.
And I think with the Don Callis family, what they're doing is like they're setting up Kyle Fletcher to go against Adam Cole for the TNT title, which Adam Cole's run as the TNT title has been lackluster. Hell, you'll forget that he was even the champion or still is the champion. So it's just, and Kyle Fletcher should have won that damn Continental Classic. We mentioned it back shows many ago, but they had with Ospreay and Okada in the final, and Okada won. So I am not interested in a Adam Cole, Kyle Fletcher feud for the TNT title because it's right now meaningless, that title, to what the prestige it used to be. So it's very meh to me. It just is. And I hate to say that because as someone like myself, like you, Dan, and you, Paul, it's one of those things where it's just like the feel of the first event because it was fresh. The WWE was doing a terrible product at the time. It was an upstart company. John Moxley was on his way in. And now at this particular time, I don't give a rat's ass about John Moxley and the Mox game. So it's very
supposed to be the alternative to WWE.
Yes. And again, we don't shit on this product. It's frustration.
You remember?
Yes.
Do you guys remember those first few months worth of Dynamites, how incredible they all were?
Oh, yeah. When you start with Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, and then you move towards Chris Jericho and Scorpio Sky, and then the Jericho-Moxley feud, and then Jericho and Cody, all those. Yep, I remember. Because
Tony had help booking.
And now it's all just Tony. And look at where we are.
I don't know who's advising him, but they need to be fired.
That they do. And do you have any other comments you want to add to follow up, Dan, before we move on?
Yeah, one thing.
Go ahead.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Thank you. Go ahead, Paul.
No, I was going to say what he was going to say.
Well, fuck the Hulk Hogan?
Oh, fuck the Hulk Hogan.
I was going to say fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Okay. But yeah, guys, we will sound like a broken record, but this is the product that it is now. And I mean, it's unfortunate. It really is. But
it's
what is
just it's just man. I mean, there's nothing really exciting.
It's for the
Look,
sickos.
look at the guys, your upper tier of wrestlers
Yes.
who should be in the title picture at least in rotation, at least wrestling each other, aren't there.
Nope.
They're wrestling for nothing, and they're not even they're barely even mid carders at best.
Right.
Because you have an international title, you have a TNT title,
Title.
you're not elevating anybody. You're not doing anything with the people that you have. And you guys were the ones who were blatantly coming back to WWE saying, oh, well, they're not doing this and they're not doing that. And they're so on and so forth. But you're not doing any fucking better. So stop bitching and complaining.
These are the same sickos. Do it for the sickos. These are the same sickos that praised the fact that not this week, but last week, that AEW Dynamite had a higher rating than NXT by like 18,000 people who watched. And it was because Moxley and Samoa Joe in the cage. But then apparently, from what Robert mentioned on our show, and we'll mention here, Gabe Kidd has a match in Japan that I think like he won't be able to be in this because it makes no sense for Gabe Kidd not to be in the Anarchy in the Arena when he's the one who helped Jon Moxley, and Gabe Kidd's not even in the doggone match. So, I mean, yeah, that's another point, but it is what it is. Like I said, y'all, it's AEW. That should be the tagline, not where the best wrestle. It is what it is. That's literally what AEW is now. And it's sad. It really is fucking sad. So we will move on to NXT Battleground because this show does not make me sad. We have 6 matches on this card. We have a 6-man tag team match with Hank and Tank, Honk Honk, and Josh Briggs against the Cullings, Brooks Jensen, Nico Vance, and Sean Spears. We have the rematch from last year, Sol Ruca and Kailani Jordan for the NXT Women's North American Championship. We have the grudge match between Tony D'Angelo, and Channing Stacks Lorenzo. We have Stephanie Vaquer and Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's Championship. We have Oba Femi against Miles Bourne for the NXT Championship. And we have Joe Hendry and Trick Williams for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, making history as the TNA World title will be defended on an NXT PLE for the first time. That card, compared to what I just read to you, is way, way better than what AEW is putting on the same night. And it's lesser matches. Again, quality over quantity, ladies and gentlemen. I did see, though, people were ranting, and this is why I hate the IWC. Oh, here's the thing, NXT, you know how bad it is when they're emphasizing the TNA World Championship as its focal point. And I'm like, excuse me. And it showcases the relationship between what we would have never had with TNA and WWE. The world title is being defended on NXT PLE. Joe Hendry just came off a match at WrestleMania with Randy Orton. Miles Bourne, for 2 weeks in a row, cut the most emotional heartstrings promo, talking about, I'm doing this for the parents who feels like their kids don't fill in. I'm doing this for my coaches, my nurses, my doctors, and everybody that doubted me, and I'm going to win the title. But also they introduced the factor of Miles helping out Oba after Jasper Troy, who is bigger than Oba Femi. What a way to make his debut. Absolutely mollywopping Oba Femi, being the monster that Booker T classifies him as. The 6-man tag is to elevate Hank and Tank against the Culling. Kailani Jordan and Sol Ruca is great because it's going to set up Sol Ruca and Zarya. We have Tony D and Stacks, which has a great little buy-in there of the fact that Channing turned on Tony. You have everything that makes this. And people want to see Stephanie Vaquer and Jordan Grace because they hyped it up with their training videos. And
you know who else wants to see Stephanie Vaquer?
Booker T.
Booker T.
Every match.
I would love to know what his wife thinks of that.
I think she knows, and she's okay with it because it's.
I want you to bet she does it too.
I bet. I bet. Yeah. Shout out to the queen. But no, the point being is every match has a story to this, and you can be invested in any one of these matches. And they set up Ricky Saints and Ethan Page for the North American title next week. So looking at this card compared to AEW, it's perfect. What are your thoughts on the card that I just read, Paul?
I think if you look at it top to bottom, you have more. It's always quality over quantity.
Yep.
And literally that's been Triple H's MO since he was doing NXT. You can't just look at it and say, hey, guess what? This is what we're gonna get. No, it tells you right there, literally, that what we're getting is quality over quantity, and it's not like we're getting all these huge matches, for like 8 hours that people have to sit there, to watch all this stuff, with a AEW show. That's the kind of shit Vince used to do, and I'm just saying, like, in my opinion, I think having the TNA title is the TNA World title is no different than having the TNA Women's title on the show. It's no different than AEW having IWGP or New Japan champions on their show.
Right.
It's no different than them bringing people over from CMLL who are champions. It's no different than their own champion being a New Japan Strong champion.
Right.
And having all these titles from other companies.
Right.
Didn't Mox come out for the longest time in AEW with the IWGP US title?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Didn't he
And
also
so
come
did
out with the
Kenny Omega.
Didn't he also come out with the IWGP heavyweight title?
Yes, he did. When he faced Naito, and with the US title when he faced Yuji Nagata. Correct.
So y'all were cool with that?
But y'all
were cool when they had the IWGP World Heavyweight title show up on AEW pay-per-view. Got it. The fact is, it is people that are just looking to bitch about anything WWE.
Right, exactly. Like, again, like the TNA title.
And it does go both sides.
Oh yeah, it does. But in this scenario, they are clowns. But I agree with Dan, because it is a two-way street and both sides do it. But the sickos are more of the or more. We got to complain because NXT must be so bad that the TNA World title is the focal point. No, you dumbasses. It focuses the friggin' relationship. In 2025, the TNA X Division title, the TNA World title, and the TNA tag titles, even with the Hardys and Fraxium, have been defended on NXT and have been featured on both brands. Again, something that would have never been heard of, and it gives more exposure to TNA. And with Under Siege, like Paul was watching tonight, you have women like Ariana Grace against Tessa Blanchard. You had Trick Williams wrestle on the show. You had Robert. They're literally doing with all three of the people that are represented as authority figures in WWE. On NXT, you have Ava. On Evolve, you have Stevie Turner as the Evolve Prime Minister. And on TNA, you have Sheriff Stone with the interaction with Santino Marella. And also it makes sense because Robbie E was in TNA. Go ahead.
But you also have Nikita Lyons, who went on Evolve.
Nikita Lyons, who's on TNA.
Yep. You also have a lot of other NXT stars who have actually crossed over to Evolve.
Yeah.
It's no different. I mean, it's just them putting themselves out there, it's like you help us, we'll help you. You scratch our back, we'll scratch your back. It's literally eventually Joe Hendry is going to drop that TNA title to somebody, and then he's literally going to be in WWE, and he's going to be a megastar in WWE. How is that a bad thing? Tell me, how is that a bad thing for either company? And especially for this dude who is doing this in his career.
Right. And I mean, like, I look at it like this, like you mentioned Evolve for a second, like Lexis King wrestled Shawn Legacy, and Shawn Legacy had a hell of a showing in the Battle Royal. He just won the triple threat match to get a future shot at the North American title. Like, it helps everybody. It helps everybody.
I'll even go one further than that.
Yeah.
Reality of Wrestling.
Yeah.
Booker T's product has literally had NXT stars on it to help them out. So again, explain to me, if this were Vince McMahon poaching a bunch of other companies, that would be different. But what Triple H is doing is that he is literally trying to go back to the territory days where all of Vince McMahon Senior,
yes,
where he would send Andre the Giant over to the AWA or the NWA or over to Japan or to all Japan, to all these other
Andre to Iraq.
Yep.
And that's what I'm saying though, is that he sent all these wrestlers to other companies. it was Vince McMahon who wanted to monopolize everything for himself. He took people, Junkyard Dog, Snuka, Roddy Piper, Big John Studd, Cowboy Bob Orton, and I can continue on. Mr. Perfect was literally another one. Shawn Michaels,
Marty Jannetty,
Undertaker.
Yep.
We can go on and on for all the people that literally Vince McMahon poached from other companies. Not the Undertaker, because literally they went after him. And specifically, I'm talking about the territory days where he took guys from AWA, the NWA, and other Memphis, Georgia. But I mean, you know what I'm talking about. I
get you.
Literally, all these territories where Vince literally poached people from away from there because he saw the potential in them, which he used them.
Yeah, but this generation doesn't understand the territory days of what we had back in the day because they just want to say, like, why is this happening? I'm like, it works. This is what brings talent together, and it's mind-boggling just to see how people will bitch about anything. And I mean, Miles Bourne they even bitched about because they're like, who is this jobber going for the title? And again, in those two promos, and they're teasing the breakup of the No Quarter Catch crew, and we have Miles break out in his own. They have done more with Miles Bourne and the 4 weeks that they set up the story to lead to this than throughout his entire NXT run with No Quarter Catch crew. It highlights that team, it highlights Miles, and it gives people hope. That's the best way to evoke the emotions and elicit reactions. But again, Anarchy in the Arena, I know you can compare it to AEW, I'm sure it'll be fine. You're going to get the bloodthirsty fans, you're going to get the music playing and whatnot, but it's like whatever. Like, again, it's completely night and day with both products. And I mean the products that we even have, we'll mention Saturday night's main event now before we get to the thing that happened at SmackDown this week that was absolutely beautiful. Look at Saturday night's main event. We have 5 quality matches. We have Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre in the steel cage. We have what was announced tonight, Zelina Vega and Chelsea Green in a rematch for the United States Championship. You have CM Punk and Sami Zayn against Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. You have Jey Uso and Logan Paul. And you have John Cena and R-Truth, which R-Truth cut the promo tonight. He was hilarious, talking about, I'm going to beat the hustle, law, respect into your ass, John Cena, his childhood hero. He's like, you have an ego, you're selfish. And R-Truth was great. There was some funny moments, but he was great as serious R-Truth. And with the roles reversed of him being the babyface. But that's the thing. I look at the Saturday night's main event card. Jay and Logan's going to be good. And Jay's going to win. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre in the cage is going to be great. You highlight more with Seth and Braun against Punk and Zayn. Everything has a story that makes sense on it, and that will make you feel in this.
I think, maybe I'm wrong,
but
the Raw after Money in the Bank, isn't it Gunther versus whoever wins?
Yeah, and Logan Paul's not going to face Gunther. It's going to be Jay and Gunther to finish off the feud.
Which, honestly, here's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
Because we know it's going to be Gunther versus Jay 2.
Right.
Or 3 or 5 or 25 million.
It'll be 5. Yeah, 5.
I think what's going to happen, either one, Logan Paul's going to interfere.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to set up Gunther versus Logan Paul at either SummerSlam or wherever.
Wherever, yeah.
Or Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg.
But I'll just say this, we criticize AEW all the, and Tony Khan.
Yeah.
I think the big thing that we all, Paul, you, me, Mike, we all criticize even more than Tony Khan is the diehard AEW marks. Because I guarantee you, if any of this NXT shit was happening on Dynamite,
probably the greatest thing ever.
Rampage, whatever the fuck show, they would say, "Oh, this is the greatest story ever."
That and I think the major difference too is like every match that I said that we all
or
love.
Dark or Dark Elevation or whatever other show
or Ring of Honor on CW. Oh, that's right.
That's right.
That's right. They're not on the CW.
Right. They're not on CW.
They had that opportunity, but Tony decided not to do it because Tony's a
dumbass.
Nobody remembers that.
Nobody remembers that. But no, that's the thing too. It's like every match, and I said this with Rob and Nico, and I'll say it to you too. I say it in every one of these shows that we do and on this channel. I can follow these stories. They're not the stop and start like Vince McMahon did, that Tony Khan is doing now, which is exactly what Vince McMahon did in 2018, 2019. Stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. Everything has its purpose, and everybody.
Where the fuck is Danhausen?
We don't know, man. We don't.
Imagine watching a soap opera.
Yes.
Imagine watching Days of Our Lives, and imagine they start a story with a love-hate relationship between two people, and all of a sudden the story stops.
Makes no
and
sense.
Then maybe 6-7 months, a year down the line, they ask you, the person has a dream, and oh my god, this is like do you remember when so and so were together? And it's like, are we really supposed to remember that? Are we going back to that? Are we really coming back to that? That's what Tony does. Tony does that. And I'm not criticizing the fucking wrestling.
No.
I am criticizing the start and stop of every fucking story in the company. I don't segregate to just one fucking company, because I say the same thing about WWE. I get tired of the same bullshit, running it back. And if you're going to continue to keep doing the same bullshit, I wish creatively Triple H and WWE would do some things differently. Yes. As fans, yes, we want to see things differently. Yes, we want to see certain wrestlers who we feel are over should be pushed. Yes. AEW doesn't do it. They feel like, and they're, of course, we could sit here and say it's for the sickos. But at the same time, we know where the idiocies stops. Yeah,
whatever.
that too.
That's it. But no,
All that too.
It's like people complaining about John Cena and R-Truth. I'm like, they're boys, and R-Truth getting to be one of Cena's opponents on his farewell tour is awesome. Like R-Truth,
I think John wanted that.
John wanted R-Truth. Yeah.
And I don't think Truth really wanted it, but I think he came up to him and said, "Hey, let's do this.
Let's do this."
And I think it's amazing that he's giving R-Truth, his childhood, his childhood hero is giving, R-Truth, one of his favorite fans,
I mean,
his rub.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
I do want to share this story. There was an interview with Stephanie and R-Truth it was Chris Van Vliet and R-Truth, where he talks about he once went to Stephanie with the idea of a little Jimmy action figure. Literally, all it was going to be was an empty box.
That's what I get when I have. That's what I get with my John Cena. Man, there was nothing in it.
And so he said, like, I went up to Stephanie, and she says, "Truth, we can't do that. We got to give him something." And Truth looks at Van Vliet. He says, "I said, well, then just put a stick in there."
That's great. That's the creative.
And people were shouting like, "I would have bought it," and Truth's like, "Y'all would have bought that?
I would have bought that." I know what you're talking about.
Because they came out with that quote unquote invisible Cena action figure.
Yes.
Like,
that stuff is funny, man. Like,
people would have bought it.
Well, people were invested in Moppy when friggin' Moppy got into the friggin'.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Like, it's the stuff that people gets into, and I mean,
people were invested in Head.
That they were. Well, hey now. Well,
Giggity.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. No, but to add on to Paul's point, he'll enjoy this. And since Daniel made Danhausen before we get to the SmackDown ending, look at Boy Meets World. Yes, I'm going Boy Meets World. Not that episode. Not all they did was talk. I love that, man. Before we get into, but not all they did was talk. Not the Lawrence storyline. That would be like with the stop and start when
I like the Lawrence storyline.
Me too. But it's like it'd be like when Sean and Corey went on the road trip, and the episode with Nobody's Angels, and they're performing in the diner, and they meet Chet's friend who worked at that friggin' diner at the truck stop. And then, Sean goes on the road, and then the episode where Josh, we don't know if he's going to make it, and they're in the hospital, and then Sean comes back, and, he came back after going to find himself on the road trip. That would be like Sean just going on the road trip and never coming back, and we don't get an explanation of why Sean never came back. That's literally what it would have been. It would just been, he did the road trip, Sean never came back. That's what it would be like. But yes, had to get the Boy Meets World reference in. So
had to get the Boy Meets World reference in.
Speaking of references, this main event on SmackDown, y'all. It was very touching. And they had announced earlier, PW Insider in the day, that Eric Rowan and Joe Gacy were in Savannah, Georgia. Will the Wyatt Six appear? And they did. So it was the Street Profits against Fraxium in the main event for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. Montez Ford is going for the win. Lights go out. Who's in the ring? The Wyatt Six. And Montez Ford does before Dexter Loomis runs up and suplexes him off the friggin' top rope. And then they take out Fraxium. They take out the Street Profits. Everybody. And then they do everybody. And then they do the pose. Since it was Bray Wyatt's birthday, there is a cake with the light on it, and then Bo looks up to the heavens and goes, "For you," blows out the candle. We close out SmackDown. That was beautiful. And also Alexa Bliss was talking to Lily during the Charlotte Flair backstage segment. So let's get Alexa with them. The Wyatt Six are back. What a hell of a return. And I'll start with Paul. He's got the doll.
And she literally told them, she was sitting there talking to Lily, and when Charlotte walked by and said, "You always need to have friends around."
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "What did you say?" She goes, "I wasn't talking to you." And then she pulled up Lily.
I loved it. I loved it, man. Y'all want to talk about the Wyatt Six, because that tribute was great. Even Bray's son on his 6th birthday coming out with the Fiend.
It was cute, but also at the same time, incredibly fucking sad.
Yeah, I know. And then Bo Dallas taking a photo with the kid. Yeah.
I guarantee you that little boy, he's going to be the Fiend. Someday he's going to lace up some boots.
And I think it's going to be the exact same thing like with Brody Lee's son, who's into wrestling and is going to the dungeon, by the way.
Yes.
He's over there with TJ and going in there with Natty. I say Natty, not Natalia, because I don't need Natty to come over here and whoop my ass.
And she will.
But, she will. And I'll accept it.
Maybe you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, if that's what you're into. Anyways.
That just got weird.
I wasn't daydreaming, but I wasn't thinking about it. Anyways.
But you also weren't not.
But I also were not thinking about it. Anyway.
Bad baby.
Yeah, bad baby. Bad.
Giggity.
Bad baby. Anyway. But yeah, it'll be great to see if it comes down to that, if we get 10, 15 years down the line and we end up seeing him in a WWE ring. I'll be there, and I'll be pretty much like all of us crying.
It was a very, very touching and just a cool way to end SmackDown this week with the Wyatt Six. Like, I'm happy that they're back. You give me Wyatt Six against the Street Profits. You give me Wyatt Six against Fraxium. You give me the tag team title mix. That is the perfect way to send off the air and go for the future of the Wyatt Six.
I have one gripe with SmackDown.
Okay. Go ahead, Paul. Then I'll go to you, Dan. Kevin.
Why was Zelina the one to take the pin? If Zelina is your United States women's United States champion, why was she the one to take the pin? And why couldn't it have been Charlotte? It would have made more sense if it was Charlotte, because she's not in Money in the Bank. She's not in it.
That doesn't work for me, brother. Woo!
Woo! Julia and Money.
I just think it would have made a more of a statement for her to pin Charlotte, because if she's that next generation or next person down the line in your company, make her beat the queen.
That's my thing too. I mean, it sets up Zelina and Julia for down the line since she qualified for Money in the Bank. But after she did the stomp to Charlotte's knee and sold that knee on her hurt knee, I would have loved to seen her hit the move on Charlotte, not Zelina. But I mean, I'm with you on that because it sets more of a precedent and a tone for her to pin Charlotte. But Daniel, you want to talk about Julia qualifying for Money in the Bank and the Wyatt Six at the end?
Oh, I got another idea. Mike, I've said this for years. I said this, we talked about this on Cage Where. If you have not seen that or not subscribed, Michael put the links down below. Cheap Pop #1. We ain't getting the 24 on that. Hell no.
No, we're not.
And anyway, I think it would be an amazing idea. Why not do a tag team money? Why not do a tag team Money in the Bank?
That'd be sweet, like they did the tag team elimination chamber.
Yeah, like where the tag team that wins, you could have like 2 or 3 teams from Raw, from SmackDown, from NXT, whoever wins the briefcase, like let's say Fraxium gets it.
Mhm.
Maybe they decide to cash in on, the world tag titles.
Or the WWE tag team
Yeah.
titles. Or the
I think that'd be a
NXT
really
titles.
cool idea.
I think that would be a hell of a lot better. For one, it would get more interest, and you don't need as many matches in to bookend it. Literally, you can have one Money in the Bank match, maybe another match, the tag team, another match, and then end it with. And a lot of these Money in the Bank matches don't need to go as long as it does.
Mhm.
I mean, you give me 10, 15 minutes in a match with all these people, I'd be happy with it. And
Yeah,
literally, if you do that with all 3 of them, 45 minutes, and then, you have your other matches that are there, it works. I mean, 15, 20 minutes for each one. I mean, if you're going to do a 2-hour, 3-hour PLE. And the majority of that is talking anyway, so.
That's the thing. I think it doesn't need to be like the 20, 30 minutes that we would get for the Money in the Banks. And I mean, that's the beautiful part of what we get to see with the Money in the Bank and the briefcases. And I'm excited for when we get there. I'm excited just in general because professional wrestling, with what we're going to in the storytelling, it's awesome. And I mean, as far as Charlotte goes, I'm interested in the Alexa Bliss stuff. I'm interested to see we go towards Money in the Bank. They've really established a lot, except for the one gripe that Paul mentioned. SmackDown was not a bad episode tonight, but if you guys really want to go out of your way and see some good wrestling, there's some good wrestling on the show, but definitely go out of your way and watch that tag team title match along with the Wyatt Six.
One thing we did get tonight, another thing that we got tonight on top of the return, we got an I love you solo.
Let's talk about that, man, because
The
Jacob.
way he said it.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
And then the follow-up was, he ain't said that in like 6 months.
Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo, like I love the whole thing with Jacob. You could tell that we're setting up him and Solo, him and JC Mateo. They've really established Jacob Fatu is going towards that babyface route. Like if he's not already, because he's white hot right now.
The fact that Nick Aldis came out and he said, Solo, you're in the Money in the Bank qualifier next week. That just. But you had to do it. You had to do it. Because I think that's where the cross is going to come.
Agreed. And I think when you have such a turn like this and such momentum that this storyline has, and I mean, in the fact that Jacob told that man's not my family, I don't know you, like everything that he put the passion into that was great. And you could definitely see why Jeff Cobb chose WWE over AEW, because if he was in AEW right now, he would be on the bottom of the barrel, and he just got inserted into one of the
He's literally getting the same treatment that God got.
Yeah, he's in the top storyline right now.
And he's in a top storyline.
Yep.
And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that he's not just somebody who's there. They put him in a bloodline story.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, dude.
It is.
So
that's good.
Here's an idea.
Okay.
What if
I like it.
JC Mateo, fucking Jeff Cobb. I'm not calling him JC Mateo.
I can't call him JC Mateo. It doesn't feel right.
So Jacob would need a tag team partner.
That he would.
What about another member of the Fatu family?
Okay, who are you going with?
Zilla, naturally.
I like that.
Son of the manga. You manga.
I think that would be amazing. And if you're going to begin to integrate a lot of the family, more family, I think Zilla would probably be the first one that I would bring in.
Yes.
I mean, aside from that, who are already out there, they're former tag team partners before, so may as well bring them in.
It fits, man. And I mean, this whole entire storyline, I mean, they found ways to really upgrade it and add more layers and depth and levels to it, especially now that Paul Heyman is over on Raw with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. they have a way to do this, and I'm really excited to see the trajectory of all these people because they've established everybody. They've established Jeff Cobb as the badass. He's not wearing like the impromptu like he wore last week, which my goodness gracious, he's back to the Jeff Cobb attire. But that's the beauty of it, man. And I'm also excited that LA Knight, is now in the Money in the Bank, which is going to be very, very awesome to see.
You know, I'll just say, like, if not Cross, I would not hate if LA Knight wins the Money in the Bank.
Yes.
Maybe he should be the one to beat Cena.
I mean, he came close last year, and those people wanted him to win so badly last year. I would love it if he wins. Either Cross or LA Knight, I'm here for it. I
think as we get closer, I think we're gonna have our own little predictions. But I mean, I think we already have our two front runners for the men's.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like the women's, I would like to see win.
Me too. I mean, you have right now Alexa Bliss, Julia, Roxanne, and Rhea, and people are already shitting on Rhea because it's like, oh God, what if she wins Money in the Bank? Of course, she's always in the women's title contention. I'm like, well, Rhea Ripley's over. Like, mommy is over. Like, you can't deny that. Like,
Rhea Ripley is so fucking over. She's so beyond. She transcends being a wrestler because you get a lot of people who aren't wrestling fans who go, oh yeah, I know who Rhea Ripley is. She's the one that wears so-and-so's t-shirt, or so-and-so's, she rocks with this band or that band. And a whole entire community who don't watch wrestling know who Rhea Ripley is.
She is this generation's Trish Stratus.
Yes, I agree with that. I think
every generation, men's division, women's division, every generation needs that one person. Roman is this generation's John Cena.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Cena was his generation's Rock. Rock was his generation's Hogan. And it goes back and back and back. But Rhea is this generation's Trish.
If you can transcend mainstream like Trish did, doing all these award shows, much like China did back in the day, I mean, that
was the next person I was going to mention.
There you go.
Even before she left WWE, you're talking about somebody who transcended. She was like one of the originators when social media first began. Or like social media started back in the early 2000s. I mean, and you're talking about her being on shows, her going to places, prior to her downfall and leaving the company. If you look back at literally who she was then, I mean, Rhea Ripley is so beyond that. Literally, she is in the category with a Roman Reigns because she transcends what wrestling is.
And that's the bigger picture to it. I don't care how you're pushing her. If she makes you money and she's a draw, you push.
And that's what I'm going to say is that she's literally a draw and a money.
These people clearly that are getting so butthurt about her being the title picture clearly don't understand how fucking capitalism works.
Yes,
but it's the same thing. It's the same thing like when we had Roman Reigns pushed down our throats.
Exactly.
With the exception is that Rhea's fucking loved. Rhea is so loved by so many, and it's like you got women who are cosplaying as her.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't Vince McMahon pushing Roman Reigns in front of the camera saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. You're our next guy.
Yep.
He didn't become that next guy until he was sitting next to Paul Heyman on a couch.
Like for 5 years after he went solo from the Shield is when he became the guy officially.
He loves
love you solo.
Love you solo.
He ain't said that for 6 months.
About 6 months. Yeah, I'm saying. All right.
That's the thing, people. If you take anything away from this episode, just learn again, appreciate it, understand business, understand draws. Don't be a dumbass and just really enjoy professional wrestling. And don't come at people like us who criticize and not really criticize, who constructively criticize these companies because of what they do. We love professional wrestling, but at the same time too, we're going to tell you like it is, and that's what you get from the weekly review. That's how it is. That's what we do. We're like Mark Henry. That's what we do. And with that being said, what we do, not like that do. Roses
Not that do.
Oh, you mean like Tony Khan?
Oh, well, I'll pay you. Not like that do. Not like roses really smell like poo, woo, woo, Caroline. Not that type of vibes.
Oh, God, I haven't heard that song in ages.
It's a classic. Come on.
Oh, it is.
Speaker box the love below. Come on now, man.
Yes,
Come on, man.
Those dudes need to get back together.
I like the way you move. I love the way. I love the way.
Yeah, because they literally both did one like an album apiece on that. They put it together. So
yeah, like get back together, Outcast. Come on. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, for real.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson.
Ooh, I am for
real.
There would normally be a cat tax this portion of the show.
You know, Mike, I'm going to double the cat tax on our next show.
Well, he's asleep right now, so the cat tax ain't happening right now. So let Mr. Jackson dream his little dreams and let you all enjoy this.
What?
But
since a cat tax must be paid.
Oh, God.
Oh, stop. You're fine. You are.
Here he goes. He's moving. Oh, Dan's showing his cat. Okay, perfect. All right, we got some cat tax up in this piece.
All right, cat tax.
That's
I can't bring mine in here because she's over there. And I'm recording in my room, so I can't bring her in here. So, anyways.
So we got a cat.
Now I know.
Before we jump off, the last thing I want to say.
Sure.
We have we got a lot of graduations going on, and a lot of them that are going on in this world. I don't know if you know anybody. I don't know if you know anybody. Yeah. I got two nephews. One, Calvin and Tyrone. We call him Louis because Louis is his middle name. But to both of them, I am so proud of you both. You know, I got my nephew Calvin that is going into high school, but my nephew Louis, he is literally graduating. Will be graduating on the 4th of next month. So I want to say right now, congratulations, Louis. We are all so proud of you and can't wait to see what you do in the next chapter of your life, sir.
Congratulations.
The world is yours.
Makes me feel like
world is mine.
Yes, makes me feel like Ice Cube and Until We Rich. Hey, young thugs, the world is yours. Now, I mean, I look at it like this, so I got to say it just because since you mentioned the name Tyrone, it's just like Erykah Badu up in here. You can call on Tyrone.
Get out. Get out.
Oh, come on, man.
You know what?
No, I'll do it. Let me say it. Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm looking for Willie Jones. You could tell who is this? You could just tell him you could call on Tyrone. All right, now I'm done.
Relax, Erykah Badu.
I'm done.
Mike.
Yes.
Shut up.
Well, I'll shut up now because we're at the end of the
Or we could do like Nicola says, suck my dick.
One. Oh, snap. We got the SMD counter on this show, too. Okay. Cheap Pops and SMDs aside.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And fuck the Hulk Hogan.
You're welcome, girl. You're welcome.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan. So
fuck the Hulk Hogan, too.
This concludes the weekly review. Before we close this out, Paul, you son of a gun, where can we follow you on the social media? The floor is yours.
You can find me, that name right there. See, the Dead Man of RWT. You can find me. You can go on my X, which you can find all my links. But also, if you look down below, that man over there will have put everything down below. And you can find me on all my socials that are in my link tree, which will be down in the description below. But just search out that name, you'll know who I am, and me and Lily will be there all the time. Oh, Daniel Crimmins, my brother from another mother. Where can we find you?
So you can find me on Instagram. Mike is going to put the links down below. You can check out my show with him, Uncaged. We have a show, I think we're recording next week at some point.
Yes, sir.
Where we will be discussing the life and times of the suicidal, homicidal, genocidal, death-defying Sabu. A little known fact, Sabu was NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Yes, he was.
I will be
he was
recording
also a two-time ECW champion.
That fucked up barbed wire match he had with Terry Funk.
Oh God, yeah. Oof.
I will be recording the pundit tomorrow morning with my new format. Big things happening.
All right.
All right.
Oh, hey, Mr. Michael Larkin, that dude over there, sir, because he wants it that way. Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Ain't nothing but a mistake. But tell me why. I really want to be that way, because
I want it that way.
Michael Larkin, where the fuck can we find you at, my brother?
You can check us out at SM Show 1 MCL92 on Twitter, Larkin_92 MLarkinMB on Instagram, StephenMikeShow.com, LFCFights.com, S&M Network shows on YouTube, where you can see the weekly review, Uncaged, Deep Into the Heart of Wrestling, On the Mic with Mike, The Stephen Mike Show, IceNet Pod, The Stephen X Hockey Experience, Pop Culture History Podcast, the LFC Podcast, and so much more. Check out all the audio and video goodness, because you will not be disappointed. And yeah, that's pretty much all I will say. Check us out.
Don't forget to follow him on Pornhub, because that's his favorite spot.
And fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Oh, and one more thing.
Hit me.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan. So for
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
So for Daniel Crimmins, for Paul Morales, my name is Mike Larkin. Thank you for listening. And well, roses really smell like poo woo woo. And fuck the Hulk Hogan.
And you can call on Tyrone.
Call on Tyrone.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up.
The past is gone. Now's the future.